The emotional mistakes men make that scare women off. Have you ever been on a date that seemed to be going great, only for her to suddenly pull away? You're left wondering, what the heck went wrong? Today, we're going to talk about the emotional mistakes that men make that scare women off, and trust me, you're going to want to avoid all of these. And typically on this channel, I talk about how to emotionally connect, and I've never really done a video about the emotional mistakes, and I think this is something so important. So gentlemen, welcome and welcome back to my channel. And if those of you are the first time watching this, my name is Apollonia Ponti. I'm a relationship, dating, and attraction coach for men. I've been doing this for over 8 years and been coaching over 3,000 men my whole 8 years of doing this, which is pretty crazy. So if you are interested in getting great content and me being your coach on YouTube to help you better attract better women into your life, bring clarity to your relationship or to your dating life, hit that subscribe button right now so you can have weekly content with me in your pocket every week. Let's get into it. So I'm going to be diving into something that's really, I think, incredibly important for just dating life and men and emotional intelligence. Specifically, the emotional mistakes that can completely derail your chances, guys, with women. As a woman myself, you might be making these mistakes and without even probably realizing it, and they can have a huge impact on how women perceive you. So let's break them down one by one, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to avoid, gentlemen. All right, so let me ask you, how many of you have been in this situation right now? You're on a date, things are flowing, and out of nowhere, you feel like the vibe just completely shifts. Maybe you've been texting nonstop, or you opened up about how you've been hurt in the past relationships too soon. And then bam, she pulls away. It happens more often than you think. The truth is, emotional mistakes can send women running for the hills, and I'm going to share this and why. Now let's get into the 5 emotional mistakes men often make that scare women off. And also I'm going to go into how to turn this around for you. So number 1 is being overly emotional too soon. This one's tricky because it's important to be open, but being too vulnerable too early can overwhelm a woman, and sharing deep childhood trauma, let's say, on the second date without giving much of a hero story or resolution can be a bit too much for her. Women want to see strength, stability, and security before diving into a heavy emotional thing. And this is the thing, is heavy emotional things are great, but if they don't come from a place of ownership, and if you guys aren't really connecting, this is where this fluff gets misconstrued because it's kind of coming off as a venting session. I've done a video about how to build emotional attraction, which I'm going to link in the cards because you definitely have to watch this right afterwards. Because timing also is everything. Save those maybe deeper conversations when you're more established in a solid connection, okay? And so I want you to really think about this. I'm going to give you an example here of one of my clients. Let's say his name is Jacob. Jacob was on a date once, and Jacob was talking about how he was adopted and how him and his adopted family have struggled. And the reason why they struggled is because one time his mother said something that he'll never forget. And it was something about the fact that he was adopted and that her dad, or something about his dad, wanted to adopt him and not her. And that kind of stuck with him. And he's like, yeah. And on a date, he's like, I'm adopted too, because the woman that he was on a date with was adopted. And so he said to the woman, my mom and I got in an argument a long time ago that said, like, my dad wanted to adopt me, not her. And that's always stuck in my head. And that kind of makes me a little bit sad. And I don't know, maybe that's why I'm not the confident guy. That's emotionally venting to her. So of course you're asking for sympathy here. But instead, what if you said, I've had challenges too in adoption myself. Like, my mom and my dad got into a really horrible argument once with me. And my mom said things that she didn't, but she's paid her whole life in making up for it. And I know that she really loves me. And honestly, I'm so glad to be adopted into this family because she truly is my mom and my father, right? There's a hero story. There's a change. There's a relief. Understood? So number 2 is lack of emotional control. Blowing up over small things, let's say, or getting defensive really easily, that's a red flag for most women. Maybe all. Emotional control shows maturity and stability, 2 qualities women find extremely attractive. If you react impulsively to minor disagreements or get jealous quickly, she'll sense that you may not be emotionally stable. And that's really a deal breaker, gentlemen. I remember working with a client, let's call him Ben. Ben was on a date with a woman, and he actually was talking to that girl's best friend on the dating app as well, and she didn't know it. which was pretty crazy. And he's on the date, and the girl goes, "Do you know you're talking to my best friend as well on this dating app?" He's like, "Really? What's her name?" And she told him the name, and he was like, "Oh, so are you on this date to set me up?" And responds like this, and she's like, "Whoa, dude, like chill. Like I was just telling you were talking to her too, and I just wanted to be seeing how you would take that because I was going to ask you if you liked me. We should only date, and you can stop talking to her. I've already talked to her about this, but never mind." And so she ended the date abruptly, and the best friend and her never talked to the guy again. And he literally had so much animosity and told me about the story, and he started blaming her. But in general, it was his reaction. If he was just in such defense mode because of the fact that, I don't know, insecurities, we can call them maybe. That's an example of being like this. Number 3 is being overly needy or clingy. Constantly texting, checking in, or needing reassurance. This is a huge turnoff. While women love to feel appreciated, there's a fine line between showing interest and coming off just too desperate, gentlemen. Remember, confidence is key when you're too needy. It shows insecurity, and that insecurity will push her away. Example. Let's say you're dating a woman and you went on the first, second, or third date and you text her, "Did you have fun? Do you like me? When can I see you again?" These are all validating, seeking approval texts. Instead, being like, "I had a great time. I'll talk to you soon." Or setting the date. "I had a great time. How about next week? What is your schedule looking like?" Clear, defined, confident. Next one is not being able to handle rejection. Here's a big one. How do you react when things don't go your way? If a woman says she's not interested or pulls back, do you start bombarding her with messages or trying to change her mind through the conversations? Or worse, do you lash out? Hopefully not. A graceful exit speaks volumes about the emotional maturity, while chasing after her only to solidify her decision to walk away from you only is basically the worst thing that you can do. I think the most confident men are the ones that really are able to walk away. Okay. So when you handle rejection badly, it could seem like sending multiple messages like, "Why don't you like me?" messages, or failing to read the room as well. So let's get into that. The next one is failing to read the room. This is huge with emotional intelligence. This means you need to be able to read the situation. If she's not reciprocating your energy or seems distant, give her space. Don't push for more. Misreading these signals and trying to force a connection when she's clearly not feeling it or will scare her off a little bit faster than anything else. And that's why it's so important when I talk about attraction. The men who win in attracting the woman that they want are the ones that go at a slow pace, the one that kind of let go of the outcome and just kind of let a woman show up and see what she's all about, because they know when they choose the woman, there's going to be a mutual effort from the both of them. So before we move forward, to recap, sharing too much too soon, losing your cool, being overly clingy, not handling rejection well, and failing to read the room, these are all emotional red flags for women and can end things before they even begin, okay? So I want to give you some examples of all of these as well, a little bit more. I'm going to give you an example of sharing too much. Imagine you're on a first date. Things are going well. You're having dinner, and then out of nowhere you say, "So, my ex and I just broke up like 3 months ago. It was really tough. I cried a lot. Actually, here's a photo of us from when things were really good. But it's fine. I'm totally over her now. Anyway, what about you?" Got any ex drama? Cue is awkward silence here. If you didn't even realize I gave it to myself right now. That's a sure way to overshare and kill the mood fast. First dates are not therapy sessions. Save those therapy sessions for your therapist or me as a coach. But most importantly, it's so important to build trust and rapport, and that conversation will not. Instead, a conversation looking like, "Listen, I've had my share of unhealthy relationships and I've learned from them," and sharing examples, if she's open to hearing, is something different. Early on, it's important to build a connection without really overwhelming her. And that first statement is overwhelming instead of you taking control of the situation. Instead, you're giving away control. Does that make sense? So, gentlemen, if you want to get bigger at controlling your emotions and deepening your emotions, I want you to take a look at this program. It's my program. It's Emotional Mastery for Masculine Men. And this is by far one of the best programs I've ever built in regards to really just being in tune with yourself, being aware of your own emotions, embracing your emotional intelligence, and increasing it too. Because the biggest takeaway here is that emotional control and emotional intelligence are the key to long-term success in dating. The more you understand your own emotions, the better you'll connect with women in a healthy, balanced way. Women are drawn to men who are emotionally stable, confident, and in control. So to wrap this up, remember, gentlemen, that dating is a dance of emotional intelligence. It's able to be vulnerable at the right time, handling your emotions and understanding hers. And it's not hard. It just is about embodying that within your own emotional mastery. And that's why I have that program. If you're not experiencing emotional mastery in the right way, you'll come off smothering instead of enjoyable. And you want to have more success. So I want you to avoid these emotional mistakes, and you will be able to connect with women on a deeper level and be able to open up. So if you found this video helpful, I want you to make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more advice on how to really level up your dating game. Also, I want you to check out my video here in the watch next list, and it's all about how to build emotional attraction with women for more insights. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, you are always loved. Bye for now.